covering approximately 71% of the Earth's surface, water dominates our planet, with oceans alone holding around 96.5% of all Earth's water. This vast aquatic realm is filled with mysteries waiting to be uncovered, many of which are far more astonishing and terrifying than we might imagine. From eerie underwater sculptures to spine-chilling creatures, here are 15 of the most terrifying discoveries recently made beneath the waves. Number 15. Chernobyl scuba stalkers. Their name might sound like a gang of roaming bandits that could emerge during the end days of the apocalypse, but there is an entire culture of people that have joined in on the adventure. The stalkers, as they're called, don radioactive protective gear and dive into all the mysteries that Chernobyl may yet hold. While the government certainly did their part in wiping the area clean of any evidence, the timing of the whole thing didn't leave much quality checking to be possible. Nevertheless, the stalkers hope to turn up something interesting. The long-term effects and death count of the Chernobyl incident are controversial and hard, near impossible, to quantify. The World Health Organization reported that a total of 4,000 deaths have been linked to the event, including those who died in the initial disaster and cancer cases that have developed and continued to do so. That's simply all those that have been reported, including the numbers of the lost and unknown. The disaster was unprecedented, and most agree the number is widely underestimated and will eventually reach 100,000. As the first generation of Ukrainians born after the Chernobyl disaster aged, the small subculture of stalkers has been defying prohibitions and illegally entering the still highly radioactive exclusion zone. The group is actively monitored, tracked, and pursued by the police. Their reputation towards journalists isn't the best either. The group crossed through the forbidden, hoping to recover meaning from Soviet waste and take digital seizures to new extremes. One of the so-called stalkers was quoted of their actions. It's a post-apocalyptic romance. Number 14. Creepy sculpture. Human art has only just begun to touch the bottom of the oceans. Museums around the world now host dozens of underwater aquatic exhibits where artists come and try to create an entirely new form of art. Most have taken to the seas to bring awareness to the dwindling conditions of the ocean and seek to inspire others to create and pay more attention to our life-giving pool. By using green materials, artists have found a new way to create homes for underwater brethren. The Great Coral Reef has notably been one of the greatest impacted habitats of the ocean, and these art exhibits are seeking to offer shelter to the homeless aquatic creatures forced out from their reef. It didn't take the creatures long before realizing the new homes were available, and soon was swarming with life. Dubbed the Ocean Utopia by artist Val, he's done just that. It can be considered a work of art and an ecological project to preserve and protect the ocean, according to the artist himself. Above all, it is a dream come true of Val, the energetic 40-something sculptor famed across Asia and beyond for her lanky, faceless, and Slenderman-styled bronze characters that appear to be strolling the corners of the world, as if in a perpetual quest for meaning, much like humans do every day. Her characters are oddly seductive and alluring. Number 13. Ancient sharks. For whatever reason, humans have a weird fascination with sharks. I mean, there are entire weeks on TV dedicated to those creatures. Though it remains a mystery, one thing will always remain accurate. The mysteries and terror surrounding them will be ever-present in humans. The Greenland shark may look dull-witted than it does ferocious, but it does still serve as a force of nature not to be reckoned with. With their soft fins utilized for slow swimming in the cold Arctic waters and their blunt snouts atop a gaping mouth, they look much different from many sharks. Experts have observed the Greenland shark to be the preferred host to a worm-like parasite that dangles from their eyeballs. These visible parasites flow through the water off the shark like hair flowing. When it comes to a meal, they'll devour pretty much anything they can sink their teeth into. This ancient creature is one of the oldest known species. You can often find them woofing down halibut just as well as rotting carcasses on the bottom of the ocean. All in all, this shark is nasty enough to allow parasites to hang from its eyeballs and eat rotten food. Today, Greenland sharks are mostly ignored by other creatures in the scientific community. In fact, experts have referenced catching one today as welcomed as stepping in dog poop. What is today's garbage was the gold of yesterday, and the Greenland shark was once widely hunted for their liver oil. The decline in whale species saw more of the Greenland shark hunted instead. This shark is as gross as some of the nastiest bottom feeders in the ocean and stands among the world's most giant sharks. Number 12. Bird Cage Cave. It was referred to as No Hawk Not Cheek in Mayan, which roughly translates into giant bird cage. The easily accessible cenote is a popular diving location with certified diving guides around Cancun and Playa del Carmen to casual snorkeling. It's part of the Yucatan's immeasurable Sunken cave system, whose complex system of tunnels stretches from more than 216 miles into the ocean and 5 miles inland. The underwater caves of ancient Maya were believed to be sacred portals leading to the underworld. As you might imagine, most of the tribe's people stayed clear of the area. Accidentally slipping and falling into the underworld was not on anyone's agenda. The cenote is also home to stunning stalactites and stalagmites, formed over thousands of years, creating an otherworldly landscape that captivates divers. The crystal-clear water allows for incredible visibility, making it possible to see the intricate rock formations and even ancient fossils embedded in the walls. Divers have also discovered remnants of Mayan artifacts, including pottery and abilities, offering a glimpse into the region's rich history. However, the beauty of the cenote is matched by its dangers, as the maze-like tunnels can disorient even the most experienced divers. Many areas of the cave system remain unexplored, and the risk of getting lost or running out of air is a constant concern. This is why only certified cave divers are allowed to venture into the deeper sections, while casual snorkelers are restricted to the safer, open areas. However, the system is currently entirely flooded, meaning divers need to take particular care in the pathing they choose. As complex and impressive as the tunnels might be to them, it's just as quickly dangerous, and divers might find themselves trapped easily. Its deepest point can be found at a location referred to as the Blue Abyss, a whopping 235-foot deep cenote. Number 11. Sunken cruise ship. Humans have long sailed the seas for longer than any historical recordings, so it's safe to say that somewhere out there in the vastness of the ocean, there is a treasure trove of human relics, either that or just a bunch of trash. Some ships are subject to the violence of open ocean storms and Mother Nature herself. Others fall victim to human complacency and error. The last bit falls just over the line of idiocy, and the captain's charging of 16 years in jail for his negligence is proof of that. He even turned himself in out of guilt. When you set out on a cruise liner, passengers are ready to melt away their stress and be out in the middle of nowhere to enjoy some true peace and quiet. Unfortunately for these passengers, the captain, later referred to as Captain Coward, forced it to sink when it was entirely preventable. The ship, the Costa Concordia, struck a reef off the coast of Italy in 2012 after the captain deviated from the planned route to perform a salute to a nearby island. The impact tore a massive hole in the hull, causing the ship to list and eventually capsize. Chaos erupted as passengers scrambled for lifeboats, with many left confused due to the lack of clear instructions from the crew. Rescue operations were further delayed because the captain abandoned ship early, leaving the crew and passengers to fend for themselves. Survivors later recounted harrowing tales of clinging to railings, wading through freezing water, and desperately searching for loved ones in the dark. The disaster claimed 32 lives and left a lasting scar on the maritime industry, prompting stricter safety regulations for cruise liners worldwide. Convicted of multiple counts of manslaughter, he was doomed to live his life in prison for the rest of his life after causing a maritime accident. He abandoned the ship and all 4,229 people to their fate without issuing proper instructions. Among hundreds of others, victims included a 5-year-old girl and her father, a musician who gave up his seat on a lifeboat for someone else, and a woman who died on impact after being thrown from the sinking liner into the freezing waters below. Divers were commanded into the scene in the last rescue effort. Now it's time for today's topic. A water deity is a god or goddess in mythology associated with water or various bodies of water, and was actually more important among civilizations in which the sea or ocean or a great river was very important. For example, Amphitrite in Greek mythology is the goddess of the sea, wife of the god Poseidon, or Father Thames, the guardian of the river Thames that flows through southern England. His ancient worship is obscure, but he has become a popular symbol of the river, the subject of the song Old Father Thames, and the model of several statues and reliefs scattered around London. But is this strange and huge creature swimming past a relatively tiny scuba diver anything like a god or goddess? Is it a monster or a giant robot mermaid unlike anything we've ever seen? There are lots of stories about legendary half-fish, half-women luring sailors to their death in the ocean. What about the Little Mermaid? This creature is nowhere near little. It's literally huge. And what's with those gills and reptilian-like skin? That's a lot of questions we know, but the one most important has to be, what would you do if this swam past you? Let's get the conversation started in the comments below. Number 10. Saturation diving. It's considered one of the world's most hazardous jobs, and they love every second of it. Despite its dangers, it's one of the least known, most dangerous, and weirdest professions on the planet. Called saturation divers, their job is basically that of a construction worker except for underwater, sometimes in the extremes of 1,000 feet deep. Can you imagine the pressures one would have to work in, both literally and figuratively? As we all know, pressure grows as you get deeper into the ocean and requires special training to be handled. If improperly handled, the pressure or even the return to the surface too fast could kill you in an agonizing but quick way. Diving to such depths, really any depths, involves breathing pressurized air. This air has inert gases in it, like nitrogen, intended to dissolve benignly into your blood and tissues to keep a safe pressure level in the body. That's so long as the weight of all the water on top of the divers keeps them compressed. This allows them to handle the deep pressures. But on return to the surface, it could mean death. A diver must slowly rise and re-equalize his pressure. Divers have been known to take hours upon hours to readjust. That pressurized gas needs time to diffuse out slowly, or it will all come out at once, which, as you might imagine, would be painful. A diver who shoots straight to the surface, the gas would form bubbles inside the body like a shaken carbonated can. Inside would be millions of tiny explosives detonating. This process is known to divers as the bends, or, more scientifically speaking, decompression sickness. The incident could be painful and debilitating and, depending on the depth, nearly impossible to survive. For example, diving to 250 feet for an hour would require a 5-hour ascent to avoid the issue. Number 9. Deep Sea Cemetery. Ancient-looking columns guarded by stone lions are how you're greeted when you enter through the entryway to a lost city that can be found 40 feet below the surface of the water. Complete with stone roads, rising gates, and crumbling ruins, this modern-day cemetery took the aesthetic of the ancients, but with a modern-day philosophy, helping the ocean. Initially named the Atlantis Memorial Reef, the so-called Lost City is actually part of a cemetery that doubles as an artificial reef. The project was sponsored by a cremation company named the Neptune Society. You can find it about 3 miles off the coast of Key Biscayne in Miami. It was designed by Florida artist Kim Brandel and opened in 2007. While fish love it as a new home, it also offers some advantages to human society. Cremated remains are cast into concrete memorials and placed inside the sunken graveyard, where divers and snorkelers alike can explore or visit with their past loved ones. In addition, a famed shipwreck diver, once listed as the oldest living scuba diver in the Guinness Book of World Records, is entombed here in a place of honor at the top of one of the entry columns of the reef gate. The 16-acre underwater cemetery is mainly made of concrete and bronze with steel accent. While it was designed to house the ashes of many people in the future, it was also designed to form a habitable marine environment for fish and coral to thrive, for which they have. In the end, they ended up creating a city of the dead that's both stunning and unbelievably creepy. Who knows? One society in the future could look back and wonder what in the world they were doing there. Number 8. Deadly whirlpool. Any kind of diving has its fair share of dangers. Heck, anytime you get in the water, there's some level of danger. On the other hand, divers deal with the worst of the worst when it comes to the dangers of the oceans. It's one scary place to be, from dangerous creatures that live within our ocean itself. Whirlpools, deadly water vortexes, are one of the many higher-level dangers. This is why divers are urged in training to never swim into a vortex. You might think you're invincible and can escape, but the power of Mother Nature shouldn't be meddled with. These whirlpools can form suddenly, often triggered by underwater currents colliding or changes in water temperature. In some cases, they are strong enough to drag small boats or debris into their spinning depths, making them a hazard not just for divers but for anyone on the water. Divers caught in a vortex can quickly lose their sense of direction, as the spinning motion disorients even the most experienced. The deeper the vortex pulls you, the greater the pressure becomes, which can lead to serious injuries or even death. Some whirlpools are so powerful that they can last for hours, creating a deadly trap for anything caught in their grasp. This is why many dive sites with known vortex activity are marked with warnings, though some thrill seekers still attempt to test their luck. Vortex currents are known to occur at a few diver sites known around the world, so experts know very little about them. They can form in a pattern of horizontal bubbles that snake through the water like a living creature. They move and can pull in even the strongest swimmers in the ocean. If the animals that live there even have a difficult time and avoid them, humans should too. Number 7. Slender squid. This creature is nothing short of terrifying and oddly reminiscent of the slender horrors pervading modern society. The way it floats about the water, those tendrils hanging far below its body, is enough to send chills down the bravest of spines. This creature is called the Magnapinna squid, also known as the big fin squid. It resembles a ghastly or paranormal creature than it does sea creatures. To be fair, the distinction is a hard line to differentiate when it comes to the many bizarre creatures of the ocean. Its translucent body and ghostly appearance make it nearly invisible in the deep, dark waters it inhabits, adding to its eerie mystique. The Magnapinna squid is typically found at depths of 15,000 feet, where sunlight never reaches, making encounters with it extremely rare. Its tendrils, which can extend up to 20 times the length of its body, are thought to be covered in microscopic suckers, allowing it to trap and hold onto prey. Unlike other squids, it doesn't actively chase its food, but instead drifts motionlessly, waiting for unsuspecting prey to come too close. The squid's slow, deliberate movements and unnervingly long appendages have led some to describe it as one of the most alien-like creatures on Earth. Scientists are still unsure about many aspects of its behavior and biology, as only a handful of sightings have ever been recorded. It's possible humans got their inspiration for sheeted ghosts from these monsters because that can easily be mistaken as one. War of the Worlds death machines, anyone? It's no wonder these things evoke such dread in humans when they're reminiscent of so many things they fear. The rare film capturing of the creature gives researchers an excellent look at its long fins, which make up 90% of its body length. They use those long tendril-like fins as a lure for prey. The largest ever discovered measured 10 feet long. Thinking the tendrils are a food source, prey swims to them and gets snatched up into the squid's mouth high above. In essence, this squid is fishing. Number 6. Underwater Garden. Nemo's Garden is being held as one of the world's most unique underwater research projects in decades. The project was founded by the director of Ocean Reef, a company at the forefront of underwater technology that made itself known for developing full-face masks and underwater communication systems. Nemo's Garden started with an idea. Would it be possible to grow terrestrial plants underwater? Growing plants in the marine environment on paper works relatively well. There is a near-constant temperature, the environment is protected from crop-destroying pests, and space, for the time being, is nearly limitless. The project uses specially designed biospheres, which are air-filled domes anchored to the seafloor, where plants can grow in a controlled environment. These biospheres rely on natural sunlight filtered through the water, creating a greenhouse effect that promotes plant growth. The plants are watered using fresh water created through desalination, a process powered by the sun's heat. Early experiments have successfully grown crops like basil, lettuce, and strawberries, proving that the concept is not only viable but scalable. The team is also studying how the underwater environment affects plant growth, including how the pressure and unique conditions might enhance certain properties like flavor or nutrient content. Nemo's Garden has already attracted attention from scientists, environmentalists, and agricultural experts, all of whom see its potential to revolutionize farming in areas affected by climate change. In fact, aside from saltwater, it's a perfect place to grow plants and eventually complete fields of crops. The team aims to create a substitute system of agriculture that can be implemented in areas where traditional land agriculture is impossible or will eventually get there. Harsh climates near oceans could thrive with life once more. Number 5. Do not enter. There are some places that all divers know are the most dangerous of all. However, that doesn't mean any of them stop diving into their complex tunnels. Florida's famous Guinea Springs is one of the most hazardous, and all divers know it. Just before entering the complex tangle of tunnels filled with water, a sign greets each diver with the image of the Grim Reaper and an equally dire message. It reads that many have passed, and going any further beyond that sign leaves the state free from backlash. This is the point of no return for many and still stands as one of the most popular diving spots on Earth. The labyrinth of underwater caves stretches for miles, with some passages so narrow that divers must remove their tanks to squeeze through. Visibility can quickly drop to zero if silt is disturbed, leaving divers disoriented and vulnerable to becoming lost. The caves are also known for their strong currents, which can push even experienced divers off course and deeper into the maze. Many divers carry extra tanks and reels of guidelines to mark their path, but even these precautions are not foolproof. The psychological toll of diving in such an environment is immense, as the darkness and isolation can lead to panic, which is often fatal. Despite these dangers, the allure of exploring uncharted territory and the beauty of the underwater formations continue to draw divers from around the world. For the average adrenaline junkie out there, this is not for you. This diving area is not for the faint of heart at all and requires excellent diving and navigational skills. Remember, as you sink deeper into the ocean, the pressure will begin to affect the mind in ways never before altered. Just because you think you know your way back doesn't mean you'll be able to remember when it comes time to leave. Number 4. Terrifying Well. With a year-round temperature of 68 degrees Fahrenheit, Jacob's Well is a popular swim spot that all Texans love to visit and cool off. Too bad this also makes it one of the most dangerous. It's often crowded despite its relatively small entry to the swimming hole. Unfortunately, it's also a popular spelunking location, leaving many just wanting to dip their feet into its cooling water fighting for space. It's easy to see how the swimming location got its name, with just a 13-foot wide opening with a treacherous chasm so round and smooth that it's often mistaken as something human-made. Beneath the surface, the well descends over 100 feet into a network of underwater caves, some of which are so narrow that divers must remove their tanks to squeeze through. The tunnels are filled with silt, which can easily be stirred up, reducing visibility to zero and disorienting even the most experienced divers. The allure of exploring these hidden depths has drawn thrill-seekers from all over the world, despite the well-documented risks. Local authorities have installed warning signs and barriers to deter inexperienced swimmers and divers from venturing too far, but these measures are often ignored. The well is also home to unique aquatic life, including rare species of salamanders, which adds to its mystique and appeal. For many, the danger is part of the attraction, a test of skill and bravery that few are willing to take on. Thanks to overwhelming evidence of its dangers from past incidents, most people just sit atop the well, dipping their legs and feet into its cooling waters. Others could find this hole much more perilous. A careless diver could quickly get turned around and stuck in this well's many dead-end tunnels. Only the most daring and adventurous divers, maybe even a little insane, will attempt to navigate the pitch-black depths of the tunnels below. According to reports, 9 people have died in Jacob's Well, and all of them were trained divers with many hours under their belt. Because of this, the state has been forced to close it to the public more than once, but that doesn't stop anyone from going. Number 3. Huge treasure haul. A US-based deep-sea exploration company recently recovered a whopping 48 tons of silver from a sunken British cargo ship downed by a torpedo during World War II. The SS Gersapa was catastrophically hit by a torpedo by a German U-boat around 300 miles off Ireland's coast in 1941. For years, it sat undisturbed at an incredible 15,420 feet deep. The recovery operation was no small feat, requiring state-of-the-art remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, to navigate the crushing pressures of the deep ocean. The team faced numerous challenges, including unpredictable weather, strong underwater currents, and the delicate task of extracting the silver without damaging the wreck further. The silver bars, many of which were still in remarkably good condition, were carefully lifted to the surface using specialized equipment designed for deep-sea salvage. Historians were thrilled by the discovery, as it shed light on the wartime efforts to transport valuable resources across dangerous waters. The SS Gersapa was carrying the silver as part of Britain's war effort, intended to fund critical supplies and operations during a time of great need. The ship's tragic sinking, which claimed the lives of all but one crew member, serves as a poignant reminder of the perils faced by merchant vessels during World War II. The salvage firm responsible for the recovery said it's the heaviest and deepest recovery of precious metals from a shipwreck ever made and was well worth the challenge. After all is said and done, the salvage company will keep 80% of the worth of silver. Number 2. Giant sea cockroaches. As if they weren't bad enough on land, researchers have discovered that there are aquatic roaches as well, and to make matters worse, they're giant. All kinds of incredible discoveries are waiting in the deepest unexplored ocean areas, and these giant roaches are one of the newest. Experts have said that the new species discovery is an indicator of just how little we know about the oceans and the world. What puzzle piece of the mystery lies waiting to be discovered down there? Scientists are even wondering if some of life's most outstanding questions' answers are down there as well. These aquatic roaches, part of the supergiant isopod family, are scavengers, feeding on the remains of dead marine animals that sink to the ocean floor. Their ability to survive in such extreme conditions, including crushing pressure and near-freezing temperatures, makes them a fascinating subject of study for marine biologists. Some researchers believe that studying these creatures could provide insights into how life might exist on other planets with similar harsh environments. The discovery of these giant isopods has also sparked curiosity about their role in the deep-sea ecosystem and how they contribute to nutrient recycling in the ocean. Their massive size is thought to be an evolutionary adaptation to the scarcity of food in the deep sea, allowing them to store energy for long periods between meals. Despite their unsettling appearance, these creatures are vital to maintaining the balance of life in the ocean's depths. Just in the past few years, many new species have been reeled in from the deep ocean, including the deepest-dwelling fish known to man, the hairy-chested half crab. The team who made the discovery says it's yet another clear example of prolific deep-sea gigantism, a scientific observation that says creatures that dwell in the deep grow much more prominent than their relatives in shallower waters. On land, the average isopods measure less than 10 millimeters in length, but the species of supergiant isopod genus grow to be more than 30 times larger. A terrifying notion if you think about all the other insect-like creatures scurrying through the darkness. Number 1. The place you can touch 2 continents. The great severing of the continent Pangaea left us with the world and landscapes you know and love today. These continents are actually categorized based on their location atop a piece of Pangaea. Today, we call those pieces tectonic plates. Atop one tectonic plate exists a continent. Atop another plate, another continent. If you're a diver, you get to see these plates on an otherworldly level. With that in mind, the Sulphur Fissure in Iceland is a hot spot for snorkeling and diving because the ravine is between 2 tectonic plates. The water in the fissure is some of the clearest in the world, with visibility reaching over 100 meters, allowing divers to feel as though they are floating in air. This clarity is due to the glacial meltwater that has been filtered through volcanic rock for decades before entering the fissure. Divers often describe the experience as surreal, as they can touch the walls of 2 separate continents at the same time. The vibrant shades of blue and green in the water, combined with the jagged rock formations, create a scene that feels like it belongs on another planet. The fissure is also a reminder of the immense geological forces at work, as the gap between the plates widens ever so slightly with each passing year. For many, diving in Silfra is not just an adventure but a humbling experience, offering a glimpse into the dynamic and ever-changing nature of our planet. The North American and Eurasian tectonic plates have been slowly moving apart at a rate of about 2 centimeters a year. That may not seem like a lot, but when you consider the pure mass of these continents, you genuinely get the sense that nothing on Earth is permanent. Everything is changing, and if we fail to do the same, history will repeat itself, as it always has with those that fail to adapt. Deep-sea divers are pioneers in ocean exploration, and whenever they uncover something new, the internet is the first place you'll hear about it. This list is a testament to the ocean's endless ability to surprise us with its mysteries, a phenomenon that will likely continue as long as humans inhabit this planet. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to stay updated with all our exciting content delivered straight to your inbox.